Illegal training camps in South Africa. Welcome to the Rian Roo Show, and this is going to be a little different. This is out on my veranda, on my porch, and I'm going to be asking the questions which I'm sure a lot of South African citizens out there are asking, because it's as if the news, and I'm talking about the media in general out there, are not quite providing what we as citizens deserve to know. Now, recently in this week, we've seen 95 Libyan nationals being arrested at what is called a illegal military training camp. And the first question raised is, why? Why were they being trained here in South Africa? And it's an important question, and I'm sure a lot of people out there do actually have the answer. I do apologize for the noise in the background, etc. It's a live thing. I'm not going to be doing any kind of editing on this thing. It's just a little different format that I want to test. Let me know what you think of this format as well. Now, the question is, again, why? Is there a war brewing somewhere where they need these people to be military trained? Were they actually being trained in military principles, in the art of warfare? Now, the company that was training them is a company called, give me a second here, Milites Dei Security Services. Now, that Milites is M-I-L-I-T-E-S, Dei is D-E-I, and then Security Services. Now, if you go Google them, you can find the details, etc., and the director and owner. I'm going to name him here because his name is public. It's available on their website. It's a guy called Bardu Base, and one of the site managers is Barney Base, which I don't know if it's a family member, if it's his brother, whatever. I don't really care. This is not an attack on the company or the owners or Bardu Base and whoever else runs this thing. I have questions the same as virtually any other person out there will have, and we deserve answers. Now, there is supposed to be some kind of a investigation which needs to be completed, and I have here also a media advisory by the Private Security Industry Regulatory Authority, or PSiRA, as a lot of us know it, in which they also state pretty much the same thing, that they cannot give interviews to the public or the journalists out there, the media, until the investigation has been completed. And they say the investigation should be completed by the end of this week, which, as we know, the police services in South Africa, that is very quick. Which leads me to believe that this investigation has been ongoing for quite some time. Then I came across a very interesting video by Biz News, who had an interview, and I want you to, that Biz News is B-I-Z News TV. And one of their journalists, Chris Steyn, who's a lady, by the way, Chris Steyn, Biz News journalist, had an interview with a lady called Patricia Morgan Mashale. The video name, if you want to go look it up, is Acquitted SAPS Whistleblower Reveals Secret Military Training Camp Cover-Up. And in this video, where Chris interviews her, Patricia says she knew about this military camp since, I think it's April 2022. And that's scary. That scares me. How did she know about it for so long and struggled to get it out there? She says she tried to blow the whistle to Beketsele and police commissioner at the time, Sitole. I'm not going to try and pronounce their first names. It's just one of those things. And that she was even arrested and threatened, and even charges were laid against her for what they call spreading of false allegations and circulating WhatsApp messages and defamation and all kinds of other crap. And she insists that Minister Bekitsele knew about the secret military training camps, and that messages she sent him were deleted from her phone after the police confiscated her phone. This is kind of scary because, and I want to ask the additional question here, is this training camp the only one? Are there more doing the kind of work that this camp is doing? And or are there more people? Now, the reason I ask, are there more people? They arrested 95 people, but did they get all of them? Are there more people? Let's say 300. And that in this training session of 95, just 95 got arrested as part of that day's training. Did this company, Milites Dei Security Services, train them willfully, knowing that the training they are providing is outside the specification permitted by the Private Security Industry Regulatory Authority? Or was it training well within specification, and that the Libyan nationals were just in the country illegally? Is it also the responsibility of company owners such as this and those training them to make sure that those receiving the training are in the country legally? I want to give you an example. Let's say someone does part-time work for you and they provide you documentation proving that they are legal in the country. You are not an expert who can identify the documentation as false. Therefore, you accept it as real. Also, if someone comes to you for training of whatever sort, whether physical or business training or whatever, is it your responsibility to make sure that that individual is in the country legally? So there's a lot of things that could go wrong or right here, depending from which perspective you're looking at it. And please, when you do comment in the comment section about this, do so respectfully. I will not handle or accept any kind of racism or bad mouthing of others. We are here to learn, to try and figure out what happened here. We, the people of South Africa, the citizens, may not be as informed as other security industry officials, and we are just asking the questions, and we have a right to know certain things. So basically it comes down to, where does that line of separation of responsibility split? And did this person know that these people are here illegally, or did he not know? And if he knew, that's his problem, and maybe he might be liable for prosecution in some way or other. However, as far as has been told in the media, these people are only being processed for return back to repatriation, getting rid of them out of the country. But if they have received military training, isn't there supposed to be more? Why were they receiving military training? In what way were they receiving military training? Is there going to be repercussions for the company that provided the military training? How many other companies are there out there that receive this military training? Now, if you also look at the article or listen to the interview that they had with this Patricia Morgan Mashale that Christine had, the hard issues she had to go through trying to convince people of this problem, knowing about it, and no one did anything about it. Oddly, it is not due to her reporting this issue that led to the initial raids on this military base. The raids, according to the stories that have now been received, and I do apologize if some of these stories are actually hearsay or speculation. I'm telling them as I received them or heard them, and they may be wrong. But the story I heard is that community members in the area started complaining about these Libyans who were starting to create issues such as crime and rape and all kinds of other things. The company that was paying for them for their military training, or their training at this camp, seems to have run out of money and left these people to their own devices, which meant these people had some need for money and were trying to sell clothes and shoes of their own for some cash. And where they could not obtain cash, they would steal or do whatever needed to get money. And this is where the problem came in. And they started having backlash from the community in the area. This is now in Mpumalanga, just outside of White River, as far as I understand this whole thing. And what happened is that the community said to the police, we've got a problem with these Libyan nationals and this. And when the police arrived to do inspection, they discovered this military camp, or military style camp. Now I must also mention this company, this Milites Dei Security Services, do mention on their website that they do military style training for farm protection, business protection, VIP services, etc. So a lot of their training may look military, but may not necessarily be military. I'm not defending them. I'm just stating what they say, and they are actually accredited by the SAPS, Professional Security Industry Regulatory Authority, and some other organizations as well, to provide this. Now, when these police officers arrived, things looked a little suspect, and it seems that that's where the whole thing got escalated. However, now I ask, where was crime intelligence? It seems that from some of the things that have been said on X, on Facebook, other social media, etc., things that have leaked out, many of the community people, including the community members, including former informants, were quite aware of this camp. However, they were not reporting it to the SAPS because the SAPS had stopped paying informants. Now, I have done a previous video in which I was discussed the budget for the SAPS, and Minister Senzo Mqunu, I said, did not add enough budget for crime intelligence. Part of that budget includes money which is needed to pay informants. Informants is a critical role within the crime intelligence sphere, because in any community, informants are those people that tell the SAPS that crimes are about to be committed. They are your whistleblowers, etc. And a lot of them rely on being rewarded for being informants, because they do so at great risk. They risk their lives. Therefore, they accept these rewards and are willing to provide the SAPS with information which is dangerous to them physically at a price. But if there is no reward, why go to the effort? And this is where crime intelligence is lacking at this stage, or falling apart, allowing the crumbs to fall on the floor, because this community in Mpumalanga knew about this military camp, knew about the training, and knew about the Libyans, Libyan nationals living there illegally, maybe, because people talk when they go out, they party at a bar, whatever, they talk. So someone knew they were there illegally and no one talked. Why? Because there's no reward. There's no reward enough to make them say something to the SAPS which may get them into trouble. They're not going to risk their lives if there's no reward. So crime intelligence needs money. Accept it or not, it's one of those things. It's the way the SAPS and a lot of other police services work. It's an accepted method. So if I'm wrong here, please, and if you're on the security services, SAPS or whatever, any kind of policing service, by all means, you're more than welcome to correct me. Please do so respectfully in the comments or contact me directly and help me. Let's fix this. Let me get the correct information then. So we have a military camp, which, is it really a military camp or is it just a military style training center which is perceived to be military? What kind of weapons were they using? Were they using illegal kind of weapons, or were they qualified and certified and licensed to use the weapons being used? And was this information truly covered up as Patricia Morgan Mashale says? Because if that's true, Beketsele and Sithole have, ex-police commissioner Sithole, have some answers to provide. We as the public deserve answers. Why were they hunting her when she was trying to provide information which is important to us as public and possibly to the Libyan government? Because for which side was the training being done in Libya? Anyway, those are my questions. I hope it makes sense, and let me know what you think about this informal video format, whether I should do more videos like this, or do you prefer them highly scripted and edited, as I do with a lot of my other videos. By the way, I haven't even shot this on a camera. I shoot this on my cell phone, which is an old Huawei P40, so the quality on the video is not that great. I do apologize. I will try another. I've got some other cell phones I can try. So let me know. I'd like to hear your comments, and let me know what you think about this whole story of this illegal Libyan camp thing and the training sessions, and what your sentiments and thoughts are. I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, and please do subscribe.